Hey ThermOWeb peeps, it's Katrina here on the ThermOWeb's YouTube channel, and I am sharing a hybrid layout with you using some fun Deco Foil products, the foam adhesive, some Deco Foil flock, the iCraft adhesive in a tape form, 3D foam squares, some Metallix Gel and white pearl. I ended up not using the Ultra Bond, my Memory Runner XLs, some Gina K Designs Amalgam ink, stamp sets from Joy Clair that are Mermaid Tail and Baby Shark, and then I've done a hybrid layout, which is digital scrapbooking kits printed out on your home printer and using those. And those are from Becca Bonneville and Forever Joy from the Lily Pad. I'm scrapping some pictures of our visit to Bass Pro's Wonders of Wildlife, and that is the shark bait ball. So perfect for Shark Week, as I did this layout during Shark Week and I didn't realize it. So the first thing I did was I smeared some of the Metallix white gel onto my white cardstock. I smeared it just down one side. It was probably a 4x12 strip. I wanted to stamp that Mermaid stamp over the Metallix gel once it dried, and then I was going to heat emboss it with a gold embossing powder. So I'm just using my stencil pal to smear that down there, and I didn't care if it had texture or not. I just kind of wanted a thin, even layer to give it a little bit of a white shine and shimmer with that pearl. And so here I'm cleaning up, it looks like, and you can kind of see you can see it there. It's not too much, but it's just slight. So it's dried now, and I'm using my embossing powder tool to go over that stencil gel, because I'm not sure exactly how this is going to stamp because I haven't tried it yet. So I'm going to stamp with Versamark ink, and I end up just stamping once each time that I do use the stamp. I wasn't too concerned if it was perfect or not. My main goal was to just get that Versamark on there so that I could get the embossing powder on top of the Metallix gel. And as you can tell, my paper's wrinkled a little bit, and after I get everything stamped and embossed, I end up putting I think I put my Misty on it, a box of product, and some other stuff to kind of flatten out that piece of paper. So I'm using my embossing tool again and just trying to make sure nothing sticks and it just stamps the way I want it to. So we're stamping again, and then I'll pull that out and we're going to get ready to emboss it. And I use some Ranger embossing powder in Enchanted Gold, and I love this gold. It's like a really light yellow color, and you're gonna see I make a mess everywhere. I wasn't hitting my coffee filter, so I'm just trying to get that on there before that Versamark dries. Luckily, as most people know, it doesn't dry really quick. I ended up using almost the whole container just to get it on there, and then I pour it back in. So here I'm heat setting it. You have to be very careful because the Metallix gel will smoke a little bit. I had a little bit, I was like, what is that? And it was a little bit of smoke coming off of my paper. So I just took it real slow and just went over it, just kept moving. The heat tool was the most important thing, and not to stay in one spot for too long. And if I felt like a spot was getting too warm, I would completely move away from it because I didn't want any brown marks on my paper, because I have done that before with embossing. So here I'm getting that all set and ready to go, and you can see that gold color. It's just like a perfect mermaid shine. So once I got everything heat embossed, I moved on to coloring with my Zig Clean color markers. I used 4 colors for the mermaid tail. I just wanted to color in a few of the scales just to give it a little bit of different look. And mermaid tails aren't all the same color, are they? I don't know. I've never seen one. I did try to put, after I colored these, I did try to put some flock on there, and it just I didn't like the way it looked. And it's probably because part of it was marker, part of it was Metallix gel, and part of it was flock. I've used the flock and the Metallix gel together, and it looked great. But it just didn't work for the look I was going for this. So I'm just about to finish coloring these up. I didn't make you sit through the whole thing. The clean color markers, just be careful. They'll eventually dry, and they do dry to where they don't smudge. I had tried some ink, and it did not ever dry. It probably, if I left it out for 2 or 3 days, it would have. So here I'm finishing up, and I love how this looks. It just looks fun and mermaidy, and pink and blue and green and yellow. Who can go wrong with those colors? So then after I did that, I moved on to stamping my sharks, and I colored these with clean color markers also, and that Gina K Amalgam ink is perfect for the clean color markers or watercolors. I can't say enough good things about it. I used about 3 colors on each shark. The mouth has a light pink in it, and then the body's just a gray, a couple of different colors of gray, a really light gray and then a darker gray. And these color really quick. I was excited because I only practiced like once before the camera shot, and I mostly just use the marker without spreading water like I normally do. These lended themselves to that. I'm not sure exactly why. I didn't do a lot of shading. I basically just shaded like the chest area or the underbelly. And I'm finishing up here, and sorry, my head is getting in the way. I didn't realize that when I was taping. And I think I'm just about done. I color in the cheeks. I think the cheeks need a little pink. I don't know why. I guess I think they're girl sharks, and don't ask me why I think sharks and mermaids go together. I'm not even really sure on that at all. But I put a color down and I didn't like how it looked, so I was blending it out with some water there. And there I'm just trying to lighten up a few areas just to give it a little shading. Really, the area is not big enough to do a lot of shading on that. And this little guy, he kind of reminds me of a dolphin, but we'll go with shark on him. So he gets colored up, and then I don't color him in all the way on the top. I kind of leave a little bit of it white to give it some shading. And I'll hold these up to the camera so you can see them closer. There I'm doing the cheeks. I kind of just pulled some color off my marker and just used my watercolor brush. And that's how he looks. And so we're going to get started on the layout next. For most of my layout, I use the iCraft adhesive tape in the 1/2 inch. I haven't really used a lot of it before on projects, and I decided to go ahead and try it just to see how I like it, and I love it. It's great for those big pieces of paper, and it's super quick and easy. So here I'm just placing that mermaid paper down, and it really flattened out the mermaid paper. It held it really well. That was one of the reasons I wanted to use it too. And I like to do my pictures when I do groups, I put them in clusters instead of I know some people can arrange them across the pages and it looks really good, but I'm not that kind of person. It doesn't work for me. It's not my style. So I knew I wanted to use that pink paper because it would make those aquarium pictures pop. Those pictures are so dark. I even lighten them and they're still dark. The aquarium's just not a environment to take pictures in. Especially on an iPhone. If I'd had my DSLR, it might have been different. So I wanted the title to be the focus down there at the bottom. So I knew I kind of wanted to build that layering up down there with a couple of different colors. And I end up using 3 different colors. And I love that title, Shark Bait. These digital files are great if you have... you don't have to have a 12x12 printer. I do, but they're great even if you have just a regular size printer. You can do a print and cut on them. A lot of them you could print them out and just trim them out by hand. They're not too complicated to cut out by hand either. And you can make them as big as you want. So I made the title bigger, and I made that shark that's going up bigger than what the file actually was. It just printed out bigger. You can just resize them in Photoshop. So here I'm just kind of trying to figure out where to place things. And trying to get a feel of what elements I want to use on my layout. And I know I'll use a lot of foam adhesive on this. I also know the title, I'll be backing that with a lot of foam adhesive because I want it to come up kind of up in the center in a curve, and you'll see that. I'll show it after I do it. So I have a plan now. So I'm adhering that pink paper down with that tape. And then once I get that done, I'll end up pulling some blue shark paper in. See, he's got little sunglasses on. You can hardly see him, but he was so cute I had to use him. So I put him down, and then the yellow paper I will trim down. I trimmed it down just a little bit more, and then I'll use the Deco Foil foam adhesive on the back of it just to give it just a little bit of lift. There's my bag of scraps. If you've seen my videos, you know that I have a bag of scraps of my adhesive. It holds my Deco Foil foam adhesive that I used and have cut pieces out of. It also holds my 3D foam squares that I've opened and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to adhere that down. And then I go for the banner. I want to pop it up. And I'm just using the little foam squares in the different sizes, the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch, just to get them to fit on there. Oh, sorry, my head got in the way. And so now I'm going to put my pictures down. And for my pictures, I went ahead and used some Deco Foil foam adhesive on the back of 2 of them. And then the third one, I ended up using the Deco Foil Foam Adhesive plus some the 3D foam strips, not the Deco Foil foam strips, the 3D foam strips. I just cut them down because I wanted that third picture to pop, since it was actually, you could actually see the shark and see that it was a shark outline and know that the shark was going after the bait that it was chasing in the bait ball. So I get my pictures placed down, and I like to get my pictures placed before I start putting my elements down, because that way then I know what direction to work. So there you can see I've got 2 layers of the 3D foam squares, and then I put a little of the adhesive tape on the back of that at the bottom to hold the bottom edges, and then it just curves up, and you'll see I'll lift it up here in just a second. I've got to get it positioned. So see, you can kind of see how it just kind of raises up, and I loved how that looked in the digital kit, and so I wanted to recreate it in a traditional way. So here I'm placing my shark. I placed that little happy shark that's by the big shark. I guess you could call him the baby shark. I put him by daddy shark, and then we've got a mermaid that is a kitten, which I did not know mermaids came in cat form, but I guess they do. And then I've got that other little happy shark next to her. And everybody should coexist in the ocean, I feel like. So here I'm going to put some Deco Flock on this seaweed. I've used the Deco Foil adhesive glue pen to apply glue just to that middle section of seaweed. And then I'm cutting out my flock, and I just ran it through my die cutting machine for the pressure to transfer the flock onto the piece. And you can see where it's transferred. So it gives just a little bit of that hint of blue, and it gives that element just a different look to it than what it was before with just the green. So I'm just kind of building here. I'm making clusters and finishing up my layout. As you can see, if you see stuff blowing, it's because I had a fan going while I was working on this. And the little crab was cute, so I thought he needed to be at the bottom. And I'm finishing up here. We're just about done, and I will hold this up to the camera. I added some stamping off camera after I got done. I wasn't quite sure that I wanted to, but after I got done, I added a few more elements, my little journaling spot, and some stamping with some distress oxide inks. So there's my completed layout. You can see that little kitty mermaid with those mermaid scales in the back and that gold embossing. I love that. The little baby shark, and then the title that I popped up with the 3D foam adhesive, and then the doo-doo for the shark at the top. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.